Rogers TV.
Welcome to Ottawa in the Know, and I'm your host, Julie Findlay. This hour on Ottawa in the Know, we're celebrating the Commissionaire's centennial 100 years of service, support for veterans, and community impact. Joining us are leaders, historians, and creative minds behind the centennial that honor the past, engage the present, and set the stage for the next century. Joining us as our first guest is Captain Harry Hirsch, Chief of Staff at the Commissionaire's National Office. With the organization just celebrating the 100th anniversary, he's here to share what the centennial year meant for Commissionaires. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's nice to be back.
100 years. Congratulations.
100 years. How many 100-year companies are there?
I don't know.
There's some, but
there
not a lot.
Are some? Okay, well, we'll have to do another show because I know you probably know who they are. Okay, so you did just mark 100 years of service. So what did that mean to the organization nationally?
For us, it was an opportunity to showcase who we are and to tell our story. I mean, we think we have a great story to tell.
You do.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you agree.
Yeah.
But it's hard to tell the story, and having a catalyst like the centennial really helps us get the message out. And of course, it also focuses our attention and our resources to make sure that we can get the most out of this incredible milestone as we enter our second century of service.
Yes. So when you say the story, what part of that story are you trying to tell? And I know that you've really taken the time to tell the story in more of a modern way. Did you see that happening?
Indeed.
Okay.
Indeed. Particularly as a former military guy, tradition is important, but tradition is not going to pay the bills. We need to be a modern, we need to be an effective, we need to stay up to date when it comes to technology and security, other security related issues. And if we don't, we're not going to be able to support the veterans, which are core to our social mandate as a not-for-profit company.
Yeah, and so what does, just a reminder to viewers, or maybe people for the first time, what does the Commissionaire's do for our community and our veterans?
So we are a federation of 15 private, not-for-profit security companies dotted across the country from coast to coast. And we operate under a social mandate to provide meaningful employment for veterans. You'll hear a little bit more about our beginnings later on, so I don't want to steal my friend's thunder on this one.
Yes, of course.
But what we want to do is support veterans and at the same time provide the best security services that we possibly can with our veteran and non-veteran employees, keeping in mind that as a not-for-profit, any additional resources we have, any additional revenue we have, has to be spent in accordance with the Not-for-Profit Corporations Act. And that basically means that we need to be true to our purposes. And one of our purposes is to provide meaningful employment for veterans. Another purpose, the second purpose really, is to support veteran causes. So as you'll hear later on in this program, we provide on average about $1 million a year to veteran causes. Here in Ottawa, it's the Pearly Healthcare Centre, as well as the Veteran Housing Initiative out in Rockcliffe Park.
Yeah, there's so much work that you do, and it comes with many people being part of that role. So Lisa Laflamme continues to support Commissionaire's, and she's now in her new role as the honorary governor. And I don't know if you know, but we do have a video with her message that we're going to share with our viewers now.
Great. She's much more interesting than I am, I think. But
not at all.
I've reported on so many stories about the Canadian Armed Forces, from Afghanistan, Iraq, humanitarian disasters around the world, and natural disasters here in Canada. I have witnessed firsthand the courage and sacrifice of those who serve this great nation.
Yes.
This experience has strengthened my respect for those who've selflessly served Canada. It's my belief that when their service careers end, our responsibility to them just begins. That's why I'm delighted to be named the Honorary Governor of the Canadian Corps of Commissionaires, particularly during this historic centennial year. You probably recognize commissionaires from government buildings, military bases, hospitals, local businesses, and events.
That's great.
What you might not know is that Commissionaires is Canada's largest employer of veterans and the only Canadian security company that operates as a self-funded not-for-profit. That means 85% of the revenues go to employees in the form of wages, benefits, training, and not to shareholders. Today, Commissionaires employs over 22,000 men and women of all ages and walks of life with a mission that goes far beyond security. Commissionaires is dedicated to helping veterans and their families through direct employment and by supporting important veteran and military family causes. To all Commissionaires, past, present, and future, thank you for your service.
Yeah, she did a great job. What a great person to have with your team and being an honorary governor. What does it mean for the organization for her to be part of it?
Well, to have somebody with, not only the name recognition, but somebody who's, who walks the talk. She is somebody who has been genuinely supportive of the Canadian forces and veterans, particularly during the Afghanistan conflict. So it's just great to have somebody, somebody of that, with that level of commitment to be part of our organization.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Well, this part of the segment is over, but everyone at home, do not worry. Harry will be back with us in a conversation later on, just to talk about the future of the Commissionaires. But stay tuned. We're coming back with more all about the centennial 100 years of the Commissionaires. Thank you for joining.
This program is brought to you by Rogers Xfinity, connecting you to more of what you love. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
They say life is measured in moments, but really, it's measured in beats. Every beat is a promise, a rhythm that carries us forward, even when the world feels uncertain. In medicine, we chase those beats. We mend them, we protect them, we fight for them. For 50 years, these halls have been home to pioneers. Visionaries who shaped the very heart of cardiovascular medicine. But it's not just the breakthroughs, it's the people. The everyday heroes who make every beat matter. We've learned that a heart is more than muscle and blood. It's memory, it's courage, it's connection. Our heart lives on in those we serve. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. This is our story. 50 years of heart. And we're just getting started.
Welcome back. I'm Julie Findlay, your host of Ottawa in the Know. This is a great hour that we're having with the Centennial 100 years with the Commissionaires. Joining us now are Natalie Barnett from Commissionaires, Ottawa, and Matt Burnett from OSEG. They're here to share the Veteran Recognition Program, Salute to Service, launched during the Commissionaire's Centennial to honor veterans, celebrate their contributions, and strengthen community connections well beyond the 100th year. Thank you so much both for joining me.
Great to be here.
Yeah, thank you. So Natalie, not for anyone who's not familiar, what is the Veteran Recognition Program and the Salute to Service?
The Salute to Service?
Yeah.
So the Salute to Service is an opportunity for us to recognize veterans at the Ottawa Sports and Entertainment Group events. We started with the Red Blacks. We have a online form that people can submit names, and they come to the event and they get to deliver the game day ball just after the O Canada. So it's a really great opportunity for them to share that with their families.
Absolutely, and just to recognize the family and the service that people have given to our country and to the service itself. You're nodding yes. So this was an easy decision for OSEG?
Yeah, I think, for us, it was an intentional partnership for us. It wasn't random. Ottawa has such a deep military presence, both in Ottawa and in the Valley. So for an opportunity to work with Natalie and her team and the commissionaires on building something meaningful, I think we both recognized it's not just about remembrance, it's about recognition and doing so in a meaningful way. And this program took on a bit of a life of its own, and it's been doing just that.
Okay, and when you say a life of its own, is it moving into other organizations in sports?
I think great question. I think for us, as Natalie said, it started off with the Red Blacks. We knew we had something, and so we've transitioned it now to the Ottawa 67s, and are able to do it even more now throughout the fall and winter. And as our teams collaborate and work together going into next year, there's an enhanced focus on the storytelling piece. I know you're going to hear lots today about storytelling, and that for us has kind of been at the root of the program.
So Natalie, being behind this, what was it like the first time it happened with the Red Blacks?
It was a little bit terrifying. Everything happens really, really quickly, and I don't think we anticipate it, nor do the participants. So you just kind of remind them to take it all in. You kind of get there, and then all of a sudden, everything just goes really fast, and then you go and you deliver the ball, and then you come off, and then it's only until I would say like a few minutes after they have the time to digest and realize what they actually participated in. So it's been really great.
And the timing was to celebrate the 100 years. That's where the initiative came from?
Yeah, so we wanted to do something different. I think we wanted to try to reach new audiences and make sure that people understood what Commissionaires was and how we support veterans. So this was one way of doing that. We started what we thought was something small, but it has grown since, and we were looking forward to continue on doing it for the next 100 years.
Yeah, and when you started getting people to put in their forms, was it just beyond your belief?
Yeah, I think early on, like anything that you're just starting, it was a bit of a slow trickle, and both of our teams came together from a marketing and a comms perspective, and came up with some new tactics. And now that people have seen it, I think now that whether you've been to a game, there's so many families in our community that have military and veteran ties. So once people have seen it now, it's taken on a bit of a life of its own, which is really why we started doing it around the hockey team, because there's so many great stories to tell, and only having 9 Red Blacks games to do so every year wasn't enough.
That's fair. And your 67s are on fire.
They are. My son would tell me they are a wagon of a team right now, which means they're doing very well.
So jump on the wagon.
That's it.
We're always looking for the literary term, and I'm sure they're like, what in the world?
That is it.
So the next steps, like, what do you think will happen in the season to come? Have you already started to make the changes?
Yeah, we've already, every year with all of our partners, we look at what's working, maybe what, because a lot of times what happens in a boardroom or an ideation, sometimes it doesn't always end up like that. So, we've looked at our overall partnership, and things are going so well. And next year, for the upcoming season, it's really about the storytelling. So both of our social teams are going to be collaborating, working on telling the behind-the-scenes stories. There's so many great stories that we see through the submissions, but our fans and the community don't get to see. So we're looking at how can we pull those stories out into the forefront.
Yeah, and Natalie, with the stories starting to come out, are you starting to see more engagement with our community with these stories?
Actually, we had one gentleman that came out, and I think some of his old colleagues had seen him on the field and reached out to the Red Blacks, or I think it was one of our colleagues, to see if they could get their contact information because they hadn't seen them in so long. So
I was just
really
thinking
great.
the exact same thing. Ottawa is so small that you
100%.
were probably like, that's my teacher. And the stories are so different for everyone. What's been your favorite part about this initiative, Salute to Service?
I think that was a really great thing, being able to connect people that haven't seen each other in a long time. My parents are both veterans. I find anywhere we go, they see someone that they had worked with in the past. So it's really nice to build those connections if they've lost contact over time. But also their feelings after. I think that was really great to see. It wasn't something I was expecting as much as how much they appreciated it and how much of an impact it had on them. And if they brought their families, they could enjoy that as well. So that part was really nice.
And so how do you let the families know that they will be the ones with the football, or like how is it chosen?
Yeah, so we'll get the submissions. One of my colleagues, Michelle Warner, who really has been at the forefront working with Natalie on this program, Michelle will scan them, go through them, look at some of the ones that are just, we feel are a real great fit for what we're trying to do and a great story to tell, and share those with Natalie and her team. And so that's I guess the double-edged sword and the challenge is there's so many great stories to tell.
There are.
So,
I mean, even coming into the studio, you just met someone whose father was with the commissioners. Like, everyone knows someone who knows someone, which is fantastic. What's the season going to look like in the last 10 seconds coming up?
We are very optimistic and hopeful. Lots of new faces, new coach, lots of opportunities. We hope it's a full house every game, and we're looking forward to.
Well, luckily with the commissioners, it's going to be a full house. Thank you both for joining us. I do love this new recognition and the Salute to Service. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with a lot more from the commissioners.
A literary feast where all the cookbook authors, mostly the chefs and the people who wrote good cookbooks, coming together under one roof, telling their story, and the guest will have an opportunity to wish them, get a signed copy of their book, hear the story, how they made the book, and all about food. So through food, we connect people. That's what we're trying to do.
I'm so excited that Chef Joe chose the public library to launch something like the Literary Feast, entirely appropriate. And when I'm looking to the future, I can't wait to welcome everyone to Ottawa's new Central Library at Adasoke. And in that space, one of the features that we're going to have is a demonstration kitchen, so that people can attend cooking lessons there in person. Libraries have always been about access, and what do people want to have access to? They need access to spaces, they need access to experiences, they need access to different kinds of expertise to learn about cooking. So what a great way, and we're so excited to be hosting something like this, there in the future.
This will be a great opportunity where Ottawa, or the people who come in, enjoy the art, their creation, and connections, and through food, we want to build community. That's all we want to do.
Unscripted, uninterrupted coverage of events by Canada's business leaders, visionaries, and social figures. Watch Podium exclusively on Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Ottawa in the Know, the full hour of celebrating 100 years of the Commissionaires. Joining us now are Brigadier General Linda Caldwell, former Chair of Commissionaires, Ottawa, and President of the Friends of Canadian War Museum, and Dr. Teresa Iacobelli, First World War historian at the Canadian War Museum. They're here to share Commissioner's Way. It's a tribute to veterans, the organization's roots, and the enduring legacy of supporting those who served past, present, and future. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, 100 years, and the War Museum is such a great place to showcase all of this. So what is Commissioner's Way?
So Commissioner's Way is both a space in the museum and a display. So it is located in, the Commissioner's Way is the corridor that links our main exhibition space to the LeBreton Gallery. And within that space, you'll find a display dedicated to the history of the Commissionaires that was updated in 2025. So within that space, you'll see the history, a brief history of the Commissionaires over 100 years, as well as personal stories from Commissionaires, both past and present, as well as 2 Victoria Cross medal sets that were awarded to First World War soldiers who went on to become Commissionaires in their later years.
Really? That's fantastic. Okay, just tell me about your passion. How much did you enjoy putting this together?
It's been great. It's always great to be able to show some of our artifacts, including the Victoria Cross medal sets, which are of interest, and then to put the faces to those stories. So, for example, you'll read about Colin Fraser Barron. He served in the Canadian Expeditionary Force during the First World War. He earned the Victoria Cross medal set in 1917 at the Battle of Passchendaele for taking on 3 German machine gun positions under fire. So after the war, during the interwar period, he served as a police officer. He then joined the Canadian Army in the Second World War, and then later went on to become a commissionaire, where he provided security to Sunnybrook Hospital in Toronto and the CBC headquarters in Toronto.
Really?
Yeah, and that's really nice because his story is placed against some more contemporary stories. So, for example, Sandra Perron, she was Canada's first female infantry officer in the Canadian Army. She served in the former Yugoslavia on peacekeeping missions, and now she is an advocate for women veterans. So.
That's fantastic. I love all the stories, and I know there's more. But Teresa, you have a story because you have an atelier named after you. How did that come about?
Well, it's hard for me to understand how it came about.
Okay, yeah, but what an honor that there is one existing.
It is an honor, and it's a humbling experience, and I'm just so fortunate that because of my service with the military, I retired and was able to retire completely, and I spent my time now volunteering. So this naming of the atelier is in part recognizing the volunteer service I do, and I'm with the Friends of the Canadian War Museum, and we work to help the museum in any way we can, to raise funds if we can, and to support the museum and all that the War Museum is trying to do.
And there's so much. So in this centennial celebration, what did you and your volunteers do?
The
list is long, I know.
The list is long.
But what did you enjoy most about the celebration of the 100 years?
Well, I think the actual opening of the Commissioner's Way was one of the highlights, and being able to go down to the War Museum with the banners flying on the street was just an amazing culmination. And I just find that when you go into Commissioner's Way, many people will know Commissionaires from having the access into the War Museum or any building, government museum, government work or office. And the Commissionaire is there to help you find your way around. And I find having Commissionaire's Way just where you're entering to go down to the LeBreton Gallery is almost like the Commissionaires of today who are welcoming us as we go in to see the exhibits below.
Yeah, which I guess is what the whole idea of this 100 years is: the past, the present, and the future. And how is the museum working on that piece?
Well, I think the display itself really speaks to the theme of continuity. By showcasing the history of the commissionaires, but also showcasing these personal narratives that stretch across the 100 years from the First World War to the present day. We're showing both, I think, a continuity of the commissionaires and following their mandate of providing meaningful employment to veterans that has not changed, that has stayed consistent for 100 years. And then also these personal narratives show a consistency as well. This idea that veterans, when they retire from the RCMP or the Canadian Forces, many of them still are dedicated to these ideas of duty and service, and they have that play out in their lives in different ways. So I think there's a real sense of that continuity displayed within the exhibition itself.
Yeah, and also the commitment and coming together and always being together. Because you just said once you're finished and you're retired, it doesn't sound like you're retired, Teresa. Yeah. So sorry, Linda, sorry. What are your future plans with all that you're doing?
Well, in both my work with the Friends of the War Museum and as the commissionaires, we're really trying to work with the museum at this point to tell stories, to tell the stories of commissionaires, to make, although not all commissionaires are veterans and non-veterans work together, and we appreciate the comradeship and the legacy and the commitment to service that commissionaires have. So we want to tell those stories to Canadians. Tell Canadians how commissionaires is supporting veterans, and for that matter, how commissionaires are supporting Canadian communities right across the country.
Absolutely. And do you find that you're still having conversations, and they're new conversations you're having with people who might not known about all of the work that the commissionaires do?
Well, for sure, because some people will say, commissionaire, you're a commissionaire of what? No, I mean a commissionaire.
Yes, yeah, it is good.
And so, but anyone who has met a commissionaire, I don't think will forget them.
Oh, absolutely not.
They're there to help, they're there to support, but they're not marshmallows. So if security has to be maintained, they will do it the way that it needs to be done.
Oh, I would not have given marshmallow as part of it. Thank you both for joining us. It's really great that this has come about. It's a great education for everyone and awareness and a community building opportunity for the commissionaires. We'll be right back. Make sure you stay tuned for more celebrations of the 100 years of the commissionaires.
So today we're starting our Rideau River Flood Control Program. So this program has been around since the late 1890s. So very historical program in this area of the city. Its main goal is to remove the ice from the Rideau River from Rideau Falls all the way back to Billings Bridge. This is a very important program for this whole neighborhood all along the Rideau River.
This is very unique to Ottawa. You don't see this in any other jurisdiction in the country. So it's interesting, it's fun, it's safe, but it also provides a main service of making sure we don't have any flood situations by actually dealing with it in advance and not after the fact.
And the whole goal of this program is to remove the ice from the river so we do not have any ice jams, which would lead to flooding of over 900 homes through this corridor. And our whole goal is to get rid of the ice before we get full on into the spring freshet, where we see those high water flows. So there will be, depending on the season, some localized flooding, but it'll be due to the natural flow and melt of the river. There's no risk to the public. We have a very robust safety plan to make sure people are far enough away when we are undertaking these operations. We are doing it as safe as possible to minimize any impact on the surrounding environment.
Welcome back. Just dancing to that. Welcome back, everyone, to Ottawa in the Know. I'm your host, Julie Findlay, and this hour is dedicated to the centennial celebration of the 100 years with the Commissionaires. Joining us now are Richard Palmer, Industrial Design with Canadian Heritage, and Lisa Dion from the Commissionaires National Office. They're here to share the story behind the Commissionaires centennial banners, from their creative vision to their national visibility, and how these banners are leaving a lasting legacy across communities in Canada. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
What a collaboration, the two ideas of celebrating 100 years and with Canadian Heritage and banners. How did this relationship come about?
Well,
it's not the long story, short story.
To be honest, Tom Walker, who's the administrative coordinator at Commissioners, tracked me down through the banner manufacturer because he had seen banners that we had done for the Air Force's anniversary the year before and liked them. And I was glad when he contacted me, and we very quickly put together an arrangement and got to work on developing banners collaboratively with Lisa, Tom, and Harry.
Yeah, so Lisa, what was the idea behind the banners?
Yeah, so I guess in this show we've been talking about storytelling, and it really ended up being kind of a visual storytelling, a visual representation that showed our past, present, and essentially our future, and that evolution of Commissionaires. And being a military brat is what we call it, a military brat, it was kind of incredible to be able to put all our minds together, civilian, military, to come up with something that would showcase that pride in our centennial year.
Yeah.
And so that was, I think, one of the biggest things.
And it definitely shows, like it's all in centennial ways. So when you were given this project, how did you, like the banners are hard to make, are they not?
They are. You have to go about it particular ways because of the limitations and opportunities that come with them. They're translucent medium, and they literally glow when they're lit nicely. And there's things to watch out for. You can't have text in the middle that would be read backwards from the other side. But we've been doing it for a long time, and I work with Jenny Hamilton, who's another designer, and we go through a process, and we come up with something that everyone agrees with. And it takes a few weeks, a couple of months, but we did it. It was very successful.
Yeah, definitely. And it definitely does tell the story, just looking at a few of them. But Lisa, how did you decide what stories to tell?
So that was I wouldn't say complicated, but it's we have such a vast 100 years of vast history that we can pull from, and we dug in our archives in order to find an image that captured kind of that pride in the uniform of being a commissionaire, and then looking at present day photography so that people that you would see in your communities you'll recognize. So back then, that's who they saw as commissionaires, and present day, this is who you see at commissionaires. So kind of combining that connection between the two was so important to us, so that everyone understands that story of here's who commissionaires were and here's who they are today.
Yeah,
and we still have that same mandate, that same continuous kind of mission and storytelling for generations to come, essentially.
And so just give a little brief story of that storytelling, because we see it in the banners, but where have you come from, where are you now, and where are you headed?
So it started off as supporting veterans from the First World War, and it progressed into supporting veterans from many generations. And one of the ways we like to say is supporting people from all walks of life. And so telling that story of, because the past commissionaire and the past veteran is different from the current veteran and the current commissionaire, and so essentially growing with them and evolving into who we are today, which is supporting veterans, the veteran of today.
Yeah.
And but also understanding our past and the veterans who came before us, as well as the commissionaires who came before us, essentially.
Yeah, no, it's true. And so did you learn a lot more about the commissionaires in this project?
Oh, I did.
What stood out for you?
Well, I was fascinated by the long history and the origins. I hadn't really realized it. I was aware of commissionaires. You see them around the experimental farm or government buildings, but I hadn't really understood how the organization came about and what its mission really is. And it's quite an impressive story to see how they operate today. Very modern, not a commercial enterprise, but a not-for-profit, but with a social mission, if you will. You know, but they're out there in the security business.
Oh, absolutely. Would you agree with what he's saying? That was part of the storytelling that you enjoy?
Yeah, definitely. And one of the aspects that's on the banners themselves is actually we took elements from our rondelle that you'll see is the eagle, the sword, and the anchor, which represents the Canadian Armed Forces, essentially. And so taking all of that into account, it kind of tells our all-encompassing story of us, essentially. So
yeah, I love the passion that you have. How long have you been with the commissionaires?
So almost 6 years now.
Yeah.
So April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
April 1st. Yeah, so kind of cool.
No joke. No joke at all.
No pun intended.
What have you enjoyed most about the 100 years that you've just celebrated?
Honestly, so coming from a military family, symbolism has such a strong, and I'm so passionate about it because it really comes near to my heart. And knowing that I work for an organization that will one day support somebody like my father or my sister is something that means so much to me. And I'm so just incredibly passionate about it, to be honest.
And I know I don't have too much time, but the banners, we've seen them. Where will they be going? What's the future of these banners?
Yeah, so essentially we will be sending the banners off to each of our divisions so that they can then be celebrated locally within the various communities across Canada that we operate in.
This is fantastic. Thank you for your design. Thank you for your ideas behind it. Thank everybody for joining us, but keep tuned in. We are with Miriam Mustafa next from the Commissionaire's National Office.
So we're back in the game. We're taking back the streets of Ottawa. We're painting the town green on March 7th, 12 o'clock from the Supreme Court of Canada building on Wellington Street, all the way down to Sussex to York, and York at the Byward Market. 1.7 kilometer walk. It's bringing back all things that's Irish. We're crossing the Houses of Parliament that the Irish built. We're crossing over the Rideau Canal that my ancestors dug that built this nation, and then into the Byward Market where all the Irish lived in the 1826. Today we're at St. Patrick's High School because St. Pat is our patron saint of Ireland. This is the school that represents our patron saint. We unveiled the church at St. Patrick's Basilica, the biggest flag. Here we're in partnership with the school to bring back all 32 county flags. These students have been picked by the teachers. They will be in our parade, and then they'll be packaged up onto buses and be in the Montreal Parade representing Ottawa and our school.
At St. Pat's High School, we've been invited to participate in the St. Patrick's Day Parade this year, so we're very excited. And as you can see behind me, our students are practicing with the flags of Ireland with all the counties and the provinces. And so they're all excited about leading the parade, as are we as staff. And so hopefully everyone can come out on the 7th and participate in the parade and just have fun, be Irish for the day.
Join me, holistic chef Daniela Croco, for season 4 of Simply Cooking by Chef right here on Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Ottawa in the Know. I'm enjoying every moment of this hour as we celebrate 100 years with the Commissionaires. Joining us now is Miriam Mustafa from the Commissionaires National Office, where she leads sponsorships and events. She's here to share how the Centennial strengthened partnerships, created lasting community impact, and set the stage for future engagement. She's supporting veterans, families, communities, everything across Canada. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Julie. Great to be here.
That's a lot to do, and I know it wasn't in the 100th year, but you've been continuing to do this.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, so tell us about some of the initiatives that relate to this partnership.
Yeah, I mean, Centennial Year was fantastic for us. It gave us an opportunity to really get out there in the community, be part of the people and the places that we serve. It was also a great opportunity to strengthen some of those partnerships that we have within the community as well. Just a few examples to name: we supported the Canadian Army Run, the Navy Bike Ride.
Let's just slow down.
Yes.
The Canadian Army Run, that has been going for how many years?
Many years, absolutely.
And this is a shirt that many did. And what is this on the back? 100 kilometers for 100 years?
Absolutely. So that was one of the coolest initiatives actually from last year. And I'm going to touch on 3 that were really special and really had a personal impact on me. One of them is that 100 kilometers for 100 years. So we had a contingency from our Quebec division join us in Ottawa for the day, and they ran 100 kilometers for 100 years. There were about 17 of them. And so that was absolutely incredible. It was an opportunity to really witness and be a part of incredible team spirit, and it was fantastic. They did it in one day, so
really,
it was quite incredible. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God, that is amazing! And 17 people as a group did that.
Yes, they shared the load. Some of them ran 5, some of them did the full marathon, and together, they raised funds for the incredible charities that are attached to Army Run.
Yeah.
So that was one of the fantastic ones that really stood out. But there are 2 more that I do want to touch on. One of the programs that we held specifically for Centennial Year was a program called Honoring Canadians, or Commissionaires actually, Honoring Commissionaires. And really what that was is that it brought commissionaires from divisions across the country who were recognized at their respective division. We brought them here to Ottawa and commemorated them at various events across the year. And one in particular really stood out. We had a gentleman from our BC division who was actually a recipient of the Commissionaires Medal of Bravery. And so he was performed a life-saving, he saved a life basically while on duty, and that was absolutely incredible. So we brought him here with his family, and they were actually on the display at the Canadian War Museum. And he was there in person with his daughters for the entire week, and he was honored on that display. So that was incredible. And the third thing that I want to mention is our national bursary program. I mean, within a few years, we increased the number from about 5 commissionaires or family members who received the bursary, and last year we gave about 15 commissionaires or family members of commissionaires bursaries so that they can pursue their education, and that was incredibly touching and impactful.
And it's such it's a family, for lack of better terms.
Absolutely.
It's everyone supporting each other with the commitment that they've given to their country, to themselves, and now to their families.
Exactly. I mean, commissionaires, we have our social mandate to support veterans and their family members, but outside of just providing meaningful employment, we do a lot of these initiatives like the bursary program, honoring commissionaires.
Let's go back to the honoring commissionaires. It was a special time, obviously, this past year being the 100th year. Did you find that it was such a nice opportunity to highlight across Canada?
Of course. I mean, the people are the backbone of the organization. They really are. So any opportunity to recognize them and make them feel as valued as they truly are was one that we jumped on immediately. And so that was really incredible. And he was just one of many that we brought to Ottawa. And like I said, they were honored at various events, and it made them feel special. And they really, truly are the backbone of our organization. So any opportunity to honor them is one that we value.
Yeah. So being with the commissionaires, I mean, you're a small but mighty team in the national office.
That's right.
This past year, you just talked about the 3 initiatives, but what else has been happening within the organization where you're feeling like there's a future, that there's so much more opportunity?
Of course. I mean, our partnerships that we have been built for many years. Our Centennial Year was a moment to strengthen those partnerships and those community ties, but it really was just an investment into to our future as well. Collaboration is the name of the game here, along with, of course, the commissioners themselves who make the organization. We value collaboration, and it's our community partners and everyone that's involved that will hopefully help us last another century.
And what was some of the favorite community partners that you did work with?
I work really closely with CFMWS, so that's Canadian Forces Morale and Welfare Services. They have a fantastic team, and they do such great work for the military community, which we, obviously are very tied to our social mandate. So I've absolutely loved working with them, and they organize, the Army Run, the Navy Bike Ride, the Army Ball, all of which we collaborate with every single year. So
and are you attending and taking part in any of all
I do.
of these?
I love it. Yeah, I love attending. It really gives me the opportunity to actually speak to veterans in the community, to learn their stories, to share our stories, but also there's so many people who still aren't aware of commissionaires and what we do. So those opportunities give us that, that chance to share our story and to educate the general population. It's fantastic. I love being out there in Ottawa and across the country. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have been running literally like crazy for the last year, and will continue with the passion that you have. But what's one of your favorite stories that you came across in this last year celebrating the commissionaires?
I would say the one that I mentioned was actually one of my favorites because it was emotional for me. The family member that came, the commissioner that came from BC and was honored here in Ottawa, he had just lost his wife recently before that event, and I remember his daughter came up to me afterwards and told me how special it was for her family, her dad and her sister, to be in Ottawa together and to see and witness their father being honored in such an incredible way. That was truly one of my favorite moments, and it's impacted me and will continue to impact me for a while. It really makes me really proud to work for an organization that can do that for the people that,
and
make the
especially
organization.
Support each other. So
Exactly.
it was great to have him. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much. I am looking forward to the next 100 years.
So are we.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And we'll definitely keep in touch. It's fantastic.
Absolutely.
This is lovely. Just
Yes.
this 100 kilometers and 100, just one of the many things that happened this year. We'll be right back, closing our hour with Captain Harry Hirsch and Captain William Tom Walker.
Thank you.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
Welcome to the Silver Spring Studios. I'm a member of the board of directors at OCAPD, and this was a special project that the board really championed. We didn't do the work, but we had a pool of money that had been raised by donations and fundraising, and it got to the point where we wanted to do something innovative with it that was also going to really expand the number of people that we could serve in the community.
We offer art, and we offer pottery, and we offer glassworks, and we offer life skills as well in the form of cooking and baking. We offer a lot of socialization with the group as well. We currently are working towards building a garden project with the Catholic School Board as well.
OCAPD is the short form for the Ottawa Carleton Association for Persons with Developmental Disabilities. We've been around for about 75 years, started by a group of families who recognized the need for services and has grown exponentially. We serve about 900 people in the community, about 600 staff. We run a number of group homes, residences, day programs, all kinds of different services and activities that support persons with developmental disabilities, both in Ottawa and in Cornwall.
A program like this is important because it's open to all people throughout the community if they have developmental disabilities. This program is becoming a community, part of the Bell's Corners community in particular. We offer evening classes, we offer weekend workshops as well, so we make those inclusive. So the importance behind it is that we're breaking down barriers between disabilities and persons who are able-bodied, for example, and we're offering opportunities to continue to grow as a community.
Relive the magic of Music and Beyond, where classical music meets art, culture, and unforgettable live performances. only on Rogers TV. Don't miss a note.
Welcome back to Ottawa in the Know. Closing our hour celebrating 100 years, the centennial of the Commissionaires. We have both Captain Harry Hirsch and Captain William Tom Walker from the Commissionaires National Office. They're here to reflect on the accomplishments of centennial year, share the organization's priorities for the future, and highlight how Commissionaires continues to be a trusted national institution. Thank you so much both for closing the show with me.
Nice to be back.
It is great. It's just lovely to have all of the guests just talking about the impact and everything that's happened over the past year to celebrate 100 years, 100 more years to come. But Tom, what does it mean for you to be part of the Commissionaires?
It's an opportunity to have another second career, work with very much same-minded people, values, and particularly with teamwork.
And so you say second career. Can you let viewers know what your first career was?
My first career was 48 and a half years in the Canadian Armed Forces. So
a good career.
It was an amazing career. I'm from Ottawa. I'm a local boy. So coming back to retire here and then have another job for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, and it's amazing. A great group of the team, everybody. Same values.
Absolutely.
And so what did you enjoy doing with the 100th year celebration? Was there a moment or a time, or was it the entire year?
Well, it's just a lot of things, because as you've seen with some of the other guests, I've had the opportunity to work with some of the most amazing people from all kinds of backgrounds, and we're just one big team. So getting things out the door to ship things, order medals, coins, get them to the right divisions, was very fulfilling to help them accomplish what they needed to do as well.
And also to see how grand it is. It is big. All of the organizations that you're here is just like, yes, it's been a busy year. As you look ahead, what are the key priorities for Commissionaires in the coming years?
It's continuing to ensure that we remain relevant to veterans, and that we remain true to our social mandate to provide meaningful employment for veterans and to support veterans and veteran causes. The security business is very dynamic, as you can appreciate. It changes dramatically. I mean, there are some core functions that will always be there, but we're having to adapt to technological solutions. For example, we have a live video monitoring capability. I actually saw it when I visited one of the divisions. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's groundbreaking with respect to how you can cover a large area.
I'm just going to get you to grab that mic. There you go. Yeah, just hold a little closer. Yeah.
Okay.
You see, you're explaining so much from the first to the last that you're running out of power. But no. So, what did you feel the 100 years? How did this centennial accomplish what it wanted for the organization?
Well, what we wanted was to celebrate a century of service, and I think we achieved that. But there were other things that we wanted to achieve as well, and part of it was to bring us together as the core of Commissionaires, and I think we succeeded at that as well. We also wanted to, in many respects, set ourselves up for our second century of service, and that means, as I mentioned earlier, modernizing or continuing to modernize what we have on offer in a very dynamic, very rapidly changing environment. Just to make sure that we remain relevant and as I said, can continue to support the veterans and the others that we employ.
Well, Linda did say she's no marshmallow, so while you're working out the details, she's got it covered. Tom, so what have you kept yourself busy with in the last few years?
Well, it's I've been, the office manager at where I am. executive assistant to Harry, and this is also a full-time job.
Yeah.
But I say it to many people, and folks that hear this will know I have the best job in the whole Federation.
Really?
I do. I get to do so many different things. And not just myself, but the remainder of the office staff, we are very useful to support our divisions. So the feedback when we get from divisions,
I was just going to ask you.
Thank you, we need something, we deliver. So it keeps us occupied, and again, great self-satisfaction that you're making a contribution.
Yeah, and so when you say you're getting the feedback, what kind of feedback are you getting that's making an automatic change for people in the environment?
Well, a lot of times we can reach out to help people find a job.
Yeah.
We give them direction to one of the divisions. And sometimes within 24 hours, you have feedback from the person that you know and the division. They've reached out, contacted a person, and they've set up an interview for them to come in to have a job.
And Harry, that's fantastic. Is that what you're seeing as well, just what the commissioners can do for their veterans and community?
Yeah, exactly. And I think the focus in many respects is on community. I mean, in fact, Richard mentioned it earlier that everybody knows commissionaires, but very few people know who we really are and what we really do. And when I get an opportunity to explain who we are, and as you probably can appreciate, I'm not shy to tell my story.
Exactly.
Or tell our story.
Yeah.
You get one response is, I never knew. And I'd like to pick up on another bit that Tom kind of touched on, is that it's the communities we serve, and it includes veterans, it includes reservists, it includes support for military and veteran families. In fact, our social mandate is to provide meaningful employment for veterans of the Canadian Forces, the RCMP, and their families, because we understand, because we served ourselves, we understand that a soldier, sailor, aviator isn't working on their own. They have to have the support of their families behind them, or they cannot do their jobs effectively.
Yeah, and you're nodding your head. You completely agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So what are you going to say for the next century? What are we working on?
Well, it's modernizing what we have to offer. A lot of it is capitalizing on a tremendous amount of goodwill and visibility that we achieved over the centennial to be able to improve our offerings. Of course, changes to national defense is big for us as well, because security is an important aspect.
Yeah, I know. You're going to be in the news and talking about for years to come, and we'll make sure of that. Thank you both for joining us. Thank you, everybody, for taking part in this hour, honoring and celebrating the centennial year, 100 years with the Commissionaires. There's so much more to talk about, but the War Museum is the first place you can head to make sure you see those stories along the way. Thank you.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
On Tuesday, the Girls High School AAA OFSA Division Hockey Championship was held at the Nepean Sportsplex between the Nepean Knights and the defending 2025 champions, the Louis Riel Rebels. Prior to puck drop, both teams lined up to salute Louis Riel's graduating player, Carolyn Courchain, who has been battling leukemia for the last 2 seasons. Though she didn't play, she suited up and supported her fellow players from the bench.
It makes me sad that it's my last game, but being with these girls, it makes my day every day coming to school. They bring a smile to my face even when I'm coming to school and it's a bad day.
With 1:30 left in the first period, the Rebels drew first blood when Malaya McMullen goes along the board, setting up Emma Lewis, who taps it in on the rebound, giving Louis Riel a 1-0 lead. No scoring in the second period, but early in the third, Nepean's Renly Cowan gets it out of the neutral zone to Annika Kingwell, who takes it through the neutral zone, gets it around the Rebels defense, over to Rio Francis, who keeps chipping at it and knocks it in, tying the game at 1. Louis Riel's Nev Pion-Robin takes it down ice into the corner, sends it off to Annabelle McKenzie in the high slot, knocks it in, and the Rebels regain their lead 2-1. They would add to their lead as Malaya McMullen goes in from the blue line, taking a pass from Chloe Martineau, slipping it past the goaltender, and it's 3-1 Rebels. After a timeout, Nepean pulled their goalie with just over 2 minutes to go, and when things looked all said and done, the Rebels hit the post on this empty net shot, which turned the tides for Nepean. Athena Casey taking it into the Rebel zone, passes it across to Renly Cowan, who fires a glove